Hey Bears fans, Harrison Graham here. We got a full preview of Week 6 between the Bears and the Panthers coming up on today's show. But who thinks the Bears are making the playoffs? 4-1 start, baby. I believe. I think you guys do as well. And if you do, like this video, just hit that thumbs up icon. I'm expecting over 500 likes on today's show because a lot of the national media still not a believer in the Bears. But 4-1 start, that would suggest otherwise. Give us a thumbs up on today's video if you believe the Bears will be playing in the playoffs this year. And with that being said, let's get into this Week 6 preview on today's show. The Bears heading on the road to take on the Carolina Panthers in Week 6. Pair of teams fighting for NFC playoff positioning as Carolina all of a sudden has won 3 in a row. They were at 3-2. The Bears sit at 4-1. This should be an exciting matchup between two under-the-radar NFC teams that are contending for playoff spots. Carolina started 0-2. Who anticipated them playing some good ball with Teddy Bridgewater? And the Bears, we talked about it all offseason long. USA Today picked this team to go 3-13. They've already won 4 games as they sit at 4-1. So this should be an exciting game in Carolina this Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern kickoff time from Charlotte in North Carolina. So let's take a look at what these two teams have done through the first 5 games of the season. For the Bears, we all know 3-0 start, close matchups all the way through. Lions, Giants, Falcons. Mitchell Trubisky gets benched in that Falcons game. Nick Foles brings him back. Bad game against the Colts, but bounced back with a big win on Thursday Night Football against Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. On Carolina's side of things, they started slow, but now they've kicked it into gear. Losses to the Raiders and Bucks the first couple of weeks, a nice win against the Chargers, really nice win against the Cardinals, and then, the Falcons, they're pretty bad. They were able to handle them as well. Carolina playing some good football, and we know the Bears are playing some good ball as well. So I'll get to some of my keys to victory in just a few moments, but first, who you got? You got the Bears, you got the Panthers. Type CHI for the Bears, type CAR for the Carolina Panthers. Let me know who you're picking in this Week 6 matchup. And if you want to bet on this game and put your money where your mouth is, Bet Rivers is the best place to do it. You must be in the state of Illinois to place a bet, but you can get deposited and signed up anywhere in the U.S. at chatsports.com/betil. They will give you a 100% deposit match up to $250. What does that mean? You put down $250, they'll give you an additional $250 for free to bet with. Let's look at the early line of this game. If you want to bet on this game at Bet Rivers, over-under set for 44 points. They think it's a low-scoring game. Panthers, 2.5-point favorites at home. Essentially a pick-em game. Usually the home team gets 3 additional points there. So they think it's 50-50. If you want to go bet on the Bears or if you want to bet on the Panthers, go do it at Bet Rivers. Go to chatsports.com/betil. Hey, if you want incentive too, new customers only, we're offering you this jersey deal through the end of the month. If you're like, I don't know if I want to put my money down, here's the deal. You go get signed up with Bet Rivers and place that first bet. After you do that, email us, bears@chatsports.com. We'll hook you guys up with a free Bears jersey. Again, this applies to new customers only, but we got a lot of jerseys available for all of the current Bears, and even a couple of former ones are available as well. Bears@chatsports.com to redeem. That's after you get deposited and place your first bet at Bet Rivers at chatsports.com/betil. Remember, they're going to match you 100% deposit bonus all the way up to $250. Bet Rivers, the best sports betting partners in the game. I highly recommend you get signed up with them right now. All right, let's get to my keys to victory. Run, David, run. The Bears got to get David Montgomery going. It's been a rough showing the past couple of weeks for him in this offensive line. He's trying, but there's just not a lot of holes to run through, and I think there will be opportunities this week because Carolina's defense, while it's solid overall, they're 25th in rush yards per game allowed at over 130 per week. 25th in the NFL. So I think this is the ideal opponent to get back on track if you're David Montgomery in this running attack. And Matt Nagy knows he's got to be able to run the football. First 3 weeks, Montgomery was looking great, like a top 10 NFL back, 4.5 yards per carry, almost 200 yards. But the last 2 games, weeks 4 and 5, less than 3 yards per carry. 20 carries for 56 yards. That's just not good enough for the way this team is built. They've got to be able to be productive on the ground, and a lot of it starts with this offensive line. Losing James Daniels at left guard's a big loss. Alex Barr stepped in last week. I wasn't that impressed with him. I think Rashaad Coward could get a look this week, but I'll stick with Barrs as my starter there until told otherwise. I know the Bears coaching staff said it could be one of those 2 guys, so we will have to wait and see. But you've got to find a way to establish the run game in this game if you are the Chicago Bears. David Montgomery all of a sudden is averaging less than 50 yards per game on the season, rushing, because the last 2 games have been so bad. So I'll set the over-under at 50 yards. Type O for over, type U for under. I'll say this. If David Montgomery is limited to less than 50 yards rushing, the Bears will lose this game. I'll say that right now. So O for over or U for under. Next key here, pressure Teddy Bridgewater, who, quite frankly, is playing pretty darn well for Carolina. I was not convinced this would be, a great fit with Bridgewater and the Panthers, as they are, in a rebuild, but he's played well. We know he's accurate, especially underneath, but he's been able to stretch the field a little bit here. He's thrown for over just about 300 yards per game, 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions for Teddy Bridgewater. He's playing at a very high level, but all 3 of his picks are when he's facing pressure. So the Bears need to get pressure on the Panthers quarterback because he doesn't have the strongest arm. You force him to throw off his back foot, he can't make all of those big-time throws. I'm looking at you, Akeem Hicks. I'm looking at you, Khalil Mack. You guys have been bringing it. How about Robert Quinn? Can we get something from you? 1 sack, 2 tackles so far this year. I need more production from you. These 3 guys get after the quarterback this week. What you should also do is stay safe with the face covering. We got Bears face masks available up to 35% off. This is the best price deal we've had on these Bears face masks, I think, since we launched this a few months ago. So go to chatsports.com/Bears masks. That link is going to redirect you to our partner Fanatics. You can pick any of these face coverings, including this brand new 2-pack that just came out. So I highly recommend you do that. Chatsports.com/Bears mask and get this Khalil Mack 2-pack as well. Most of these on sale for at least 20% off. Some of them up to 35% off. This 4-pack, it's down to $20.99. Used to be $29.99. Take advantage of this sale. It's not going to last forever. I would jump on it right now. That link is in the comments. It's in the description. It's chatsports.com/Bears masks. Another key here is the Bears cornerbacks need to be better than the Panthers wide receivers. This will be a good matchup, and the Bears corners have played very, very well. We talked about Jalen Johnson and Kyle Fuller on our last show because they've been playing at such a high level. They're actually number 1 and number 2 in terms of completion percentage allowed when targeted. Fuller, under 42%. Johnson, less than 45%. That is excellent for a rookie there, as Johnson's on pace for 22 pass breakups. Fuller has a pick and a forced fumble. He also has 5 pass breakups as well. They're going to be challenged, though, because Robby Anderson is number 3 in the NFL in receiving, and DJ Moore's a heck of a player, too. This Panthers passing attack is much better than I anticipated, and I think anybody anticipated, quite frankly. Anderson's been a nice piece. We know DJ Moore's a deep threat. Both these guys can stretch the field and do some different things. So kudos to Carolina for having a nice 1-2 punch at receiver. But I think whoever wins this matchup between the Bears corners and the Panthers wide receiver will go a long way in determining who wins this football game. Now, I mentioned Fuller and Johnson have been playing like 2 of the best corners in the NFL. If you don't believe me, the numbers back it up. It's just a fact. Who's playing better? Type KF for Kyle Fuller. Type JJ for Jalen Johnson. I love Jalen Johnson, but Kyle Fuller is playing like an all-pro right now. He is top in pretty much every category at the cornerback position. I'm typing my KF for Kyle Fuller. What I'm also doing is subscribing to Chicago Bears now. I've already done that from my personal YouTube channel, but you guys should do it too if you haven't already. Hit that subscribe button. It's right below this video where you're watching. You see the red sub button. You just click it. It turns to gray, and you are subscribed forever. It's 100% free. No risk for a ton of reward because we have Bears videos going out almost every single day. Let's continue to grow. We're almost at 13,000 subscribers. I want to get to 15,000 before the end of 2020. And then last key here, and kind of a quickish one, ball security. You could say this one every week, but Carolina's defense, they're tied for 6th in takeaways with 8, including five fumble recoveries, which the Bears have 0 fumbles. At least 0 fumbles that they actually lost. So the Bears have been good in that regard. Have thrown 6 interceptions between Nick Foles and Mitchell Trubisky, but got to take care of the football. Carolina is a disciplined football team, and if you lose the turnover battle to them, that is going to be trouble. So those are some of my keys to victory. Before we get out of here, predict the score. Bears, Panthers, what are you feeling for this Week 6 matchup? I'm going to go Chicago 23, Carolina 17. I like the under at Bet Rivers, so go take advantage of that, as that is set at 44 points. I think the Bears get it done on the road. They need a signature road victory. I think this would be a solid win for them. Carolina's playing really well the last 3 weeks. Winning 3 games in a row in the NFL is hard to do. The Bears did it the first 3 weeks. The Panthers have done it in weeks 3 through 5. I think this will be a good test for Chicago, and I'm excited to see how it all plays out. So give me the Bears 23-17. Just a quick recap of my keys to victory. Got to get Montgomery going. I said it last week. Didn't happen. You got away with it. Got to travel on the road and run the football. Get pressure on Bridgewater. All 3 of his interceptions are when he's facing pressure. Bears corners need to be better than Panthers receivers. I'm looking at you, Kyle Fuller, and Jalen Johnson. And then take care of the ball. Be smart, Nick Foles. Don't force any passes. Take care of the football. Value possessions. This is going to be a low-scoring game. Bears 23, Panthers 17. We'll have coverage throughout the week here on Chicago Bears Now.